Let us pray in silence.
As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sisters, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sisters, let's go down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, mothers, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sisters, let's go down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear sorry crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, people, let's go down, come on down. Oh, people, let's go down to the river to pray.
And let us pray. God of love, we praise you and we thank you for this opportunity to gather. We thank you for the gift of our dear Catherine, beloved explorer, sister, teacher, and dear friend, lover of family, of adventures, of culture and travel, proponent of education and the rights of women, of communities working together for a common mission, but most especially proponent of justice. We thank you for this time to sing and remember, to grieve and to support one another. Be with us this night and watch over all those who weep. Give your angels and your saints charge over all who sleep. We ask this in the name of all that is good and holy, and let the community say, Amen. At this time, we invite you to join us in sharing a story or a short blessing on behalf of Catherine. And we're going to do that by what Andrea suggested, by raising your hand. We're actually going to begin with a refrain, and we'll sing it throughout our sharing. And think of it as Catherine speaking to us.
Grieve not, nor speak of me with tears, but laugh and talk of me as though I were beside you. I loved you so, I loved you so. 'Twas heaven here with you.
I see Mary Kay.
Andrea, I'm just wondering if Mary McGlone could say a few words to our friends in Chile about how raising their hand and you will recognize them to speak. And also when the song comes back up on the screen, Mary, maybe you could translate the text of the song for them. Thank you very much.
Estoy hablando con las que hablan español. ¿Me escuchan? Lo que explicó Lori era que si ustedes quieren compartir una memoria, un cuento sobre Catherine, solamente hay que dar señal con la mano y ella las va a reconocer. Y la canción que estaban cantando justo ahora, que está en línea, ya en la pantalla, dice: no llores, ni hablen sobre mí con lágrimas, sino ríense y hablen de mí como si estuviera a su lado. Les amé tanto, les amé tanto. Estaba en el cielo estando con ustedes.
Okay, so now's the moment where I'm looking for hands, either by opening the participants tab and choosing the raise hand function, or by simply waving your hand, and I'll make a list of folks whose hands I see. So please go ahead and wave to me if you're interested in saying something. And I don't see any yet. Oh, Therese and Frederick and Jean. Therese, why don't you begin?
I was thinking I've known Catherine in many ways. I was at St. Kate's when she came to be our president, and she was the first non-CSJ, non-St. Paul CSJ. So I think what she showed there was a lot of bravery, taking us all on. And she did a good job. Mm-hmm. She started out by going to Sinai to visit the place that venerates St. Catherine of Alexandria, which was quite a little adventure of its own, getting her passport, going through the whole thing. But she always kept a good mood, no matter what. And she became a good friend of Monsignor Murphy, which was exactly what happened when she ran NCEA. Catherine knew how to deal with the clergy very, very well. And I think she was the first non-clergyman to have that job, as director of the National Catholic Education Association. And she did that with the ultimate of graciousness. And then when she came back to live with us after Chile, which she adored, she was just a good time, good company all the time. We loved her. We're sorry for Albany that you lost her, but we gained her, so we're happy about that.
Next, Frederick, please. You can unmute yourself and share, and after Frederick, Jean Winsick. Is there not a Frederick? Oh, Frederick Brigham. I see that your mouth is moving, but I can't hear you. You get closer to your computer, maybe? Oh, and now you're muted. I'm sorry.
No. Continúen nomás.
Ah, hermano.
Ya, sí, pues yo.
Frederick, we're having trouble hearing you.
Dice que no le escucha bien. ¿Puede hablar un poquito más fuerte?
¿Y a quién le toca hablar?
A usted.
A mí. Bueno, chupaya. Ya.
Okay. Go ahead, Guido. Go ahead and say what you'd like.
Bueno, yo soy un diácono de la parroquia donde participó Katy
I'm a deacon from the parish where she used to work.
y trabajé con ella en algunos grupos de confirmación.
And I worked with her in some confirmation groups.
Y excelentes recuerdos porque ella también apoyó nuestro trabajo en la cárcel en Talca.
I have wonderful memories of her, and she also helped us with our ministry in the jail in Tacna.
Así que
Gracias.
Gracias, Guido. Jean Winsek, please unmute and share what you'd like to share.
Well, until 2 years ago, Catherine was a member of the Board of Trustees at St. Catherine University. And there were times at the meetings when all of us thought that she was napping. And occasionally, what she would do is turn on the microphone in front of her, and inevitably, she would make a comment that was so insightful or ask a question that was so relevant that we realized that she was simply closing her eyes during the meetings. And her presidency at St. Kate's was at a very challenging time, but I know that she would want us to say that her love and loyalty to St. Kate's was absolutely constant.
It was constant, and I often had to sit at the table with her, and she did nap a few times, Jean. She did.
Thank you. Dale McDonald, would you like to go next?
Yes, I'm Sister Dale McDonald. I worked at NCEA. Actually, Catherine hired me more than 25 years ago. I'm still there, carrying on what Catherine's legacy was really to NCEA and to Catholic education. And that was her commitment to promoting a vision of Catholic education that served diversity nationally. And to honor that memory, every year we do at NCEA's annual convention present the Catherine T. McNamee Award to an institution or a person who exemplifies that type of leadership and commitment to diversity. And as was said before, Catherine was the first non-cleric and the first woman to serve as the president of NCEA. And she charted her own course and became really an articulate and spokesman for Catholic education nationally and internationally. And one of her first challenges was to prepare for and to introduce Pope John Paul II at the first annual convention that she presided at. And Catherine did bring a number of innovations to NCEA traditions that we still honor. And one of her big hallmarks of her leadership was this commitment to international presence for NCEA participation and leading groups to all places around the world. She's many countries that she was part of. So she was truly, a national and international ambassador for Catholic education. But, most of all, what I remember is she was a gracious and lovely woman religious who faithfully served her God, her congregation, her church, Catholic education, and did it all with graciousness and with great joy. And it was a pleasure to know her. May she rest in peace.
Nor speak of me with tears, but laugh and talk of me as though I were beside you. I loved you so, I loved you so. 'Twas heaven here with you.
Donna, would you unmute yourself and speak? And after Donna, Joan Mitchell.
Yes, I'll follow up. I'm Donna Hauer. I'm a consociate, and I work at St. Catherine University in the Multicultural International Programs and Services Office. And in 2012, we renamed our student scholarship for international students in honor of Sister Catherine for her bold leadership and commitment to social justice globally, as well as international education. And I have such fond memories of sitting with her to gather the information that we wanted to put on an information sheet for international students to get to know her. And she would join us every year when she was here and available at our international orientation. And students really thought of her as a celebrity because this scholarship, this money was named after her that they received. And so there would be times when they would ask, if they could meet her, or they'd see her walking and can I go speak with her? But it was really kind of a rock star status that she had with many of our students. And we also had to be clear with them that she did not have the money personally to give them, because they also would think, well, if she came up with that much, maybe she'd have a little more to share. So we also had to be real clear about that. But she was such a strong ally for our office and for St. Kate's, for our students. And I also knew her in the context of being a very, very active member for many, many years on our Dismantling Racism group. And she was such a strong anti-racist activist and advocate. And I also have fond memories of her sharing stories around that with me as well. So she will be dearly missed, and her legacy will live on. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
Oh, let me just say, her sense of humor. She had such wonderful wit and humor, and always had us laughing, as well as our students. So just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thanks, Donna. Joan Mitchell, if you'd please unmute and share.
Well, Catherine was always friendly. When you met her at a convention, when you met her on the streets, she always was friendly. You were always catching up. And I remember a couple of things. We were at a trustee meeting, I think, talking about the thing from Rome about higher education, and President Jenkins from Notre Dame had written an article about the Lana Lake Statement, which was about higher education institutions having independent status. They weren't directly church. And Catherine took an empty chair among the people who were discussing. She had been at the original Lana Lakes meeting with Ted Heisberger, the president of Notre Dame 50 years prior. So, we were treated to the richness of her long experience. And I served on a social justice committee for the congregation, and we were talking about the seat at the United Nations and then economic and social conference. And she talked over and over. She'd been in Washington, D.C. then for quite a while, about the value of being at all these tables. It wasn't like you could change everything, but you could set up the communication between the sisters on the ground all over the world, and trying to hold nations responsible for what they had committed to at the UN. And as you know, we have all Sisters of St. Joseph belong to this seat, that we all did it. And it made it, especially considering all the tables she had sat at, such a blessing that she always valued our table at home, as we always gathered on Christmas and Easter at somebody's house with those who had no family in town. And she always valued that. She celebrated so many big occasions with us. So we'll all miss her.
Thank you, Joan. Marite, would you like to share? Marite, I might be saying your name incorrectly. There you are. Yes, go ahead.
Sí. Hola desde Chile.
Hello to everybody from Chile.
Cariñosamente, como le decíamos nosotros, para la hermana Catita en general, coincidimos en su dulzura, en su elegancia.
From the point of view of Chile, we want to say that we agree with what you all have been saying, especially about her elegance and how lovely she was.
El cariño que ella tenía hacia nosotras como
The
chilenos,
love she had for us here in Chile,
lo sentimos muy, muy dentro de nosotros. Así que nosotros cariñosamente a ella también la queríamos mucho, mucho.
and so we feel it very, very much, the great love she had for us.
Claro, y su paso por acá también quedó marcado, bueno, la universidad, porque
Her time here was also marked by her contributions at the
por
university.
las clases de ética,
She taught ethics.
claro, pero en general el cariño y ese amor que ella siempre mostró por nosotros.
Most of all, it was the tenderness and the love that she had for us.
Y bueno, y principalmente dentro de todas las hermanas que estuvieron en Chile, ella,
among all of the sisters who were in Chile,
ella mostró ese carisma que ustedes tienen, el carisma del amor al prójimo.
The charism that you all have of love and unity.
Sí, amor al prójimo sin
Love of the
distinción.
neighbor. ¿Cómo?
Amor al prójimo y sin distinción.
Without distinction.
Claro, que ahora con esta situación que hemos estado viviendo, se ha notado más ese amor hacia el prójimo.
And in this situation that we're living through right now, we see even more the need for the love of the neighbor.
Claro, entonces estamos muy, pero muy agradecidas de que el Señor nos enviara a esta hermanita, bueno, y a todas las hermanitas que han pasado por Chile, porque de verdad hemos crecido espiritualmente mucho, mucho.
Those of us who are here in Chile are very, very grateful to God for having had these sisters among us, all of them, because they have enriched us greatly spiritually.
Sí, y bueno, y eso, finalizar diciendo que agradecemos a Dios el haberla conocido, el haberla puesto en nuestro camino. Por eso, gracias a la Catita al cielo.
And so we thank Catita in heaven and God that she was able to share this place, this time, that we were able to be on the same road together.
Thank you, Marita. Gracias. Next, please, Mary Kay, and then Susan Hames after that.
Mary McGlone, will you translate for me, please? Catherine was a passionate advocate of ACOF.
Katy promovió mucho ACOF.
And in particular for the Familia de San Jose.
Y de manera muy especial la familia de San Jose.
And especially during the years she was in congregational leadership.
Especialmente durante los años cuando sirvió en el liderazgo congregacional.
And the ACOF directors met every year, usually in September. And
las directoras de ACOF se reunieron cada año, normalmente en septiembre.
And it was the time of year of the National Feast of Chile,
y era
the national holiday.
Era el tiempo del año de Fiestas Patrias de Chile.
And whoever the representatives would come from Chile would bring their outfits and their music and gifts for everyone.
Las representantes de Chile vinieron con sus trajes, con regalos para todos, con su canción.
And every year Catherine would wear her shirt that looked like the Chilean flag.
Y cada año Katy llevó su camisa de la bandera de Chile.
And it was her passionate conviction that we are all one that kept the ACOF directors together and let us share our hearts with each other.
y era su convicción apasionada que somos todos unidas, que mantuvo el grupo de las directoras juntas y compartiendo desde el corazón.
Sí, muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mary Kay. So on my list next, I have Susan Hames, and then Frederick, Suzanne Reedy, and Menchie, and Maji.
So remembering Catherine's coming to St. Catherine, I remember that one thing among the many wonderful things she did as president was that she hired an African-American woman to be the first development director at St. Catherine, and that woman became her friend for life. Sharon Tolbert and she continued to be friends through Sharon's leaving St. Catherine and going to, becoming the one who revived St. Peter Claver for some years, and then later in life, when Sharon retired, I helped them get together. Sharon knew friends of my family, and we got together, with Catherine, and that was a great joy to Catherine. They were good friends for life. And I am grateful and give thanks for Catherine's love for Chile, which enabled many of us to go and to meet so many of you and enjoy so much life that you share in Chile, and to share and to welcome some of you to St. Paul to share life with us. Mucho gusto en compartir la vida en Talca y en Correcto y también en San Pablo. Mucho gusto. Y mucho gusto para la canción que tenemos de ustedes, y vamos a contar ahora. Demos gracias al Señor. Demos gracias al Señor. Demos gracias al Señor. Demos gracias al Señor. Others here can tell more about our trip to Chile, but Catherine staged a whole women in theology, una clase de las mujeres y la teología en Chile for over 2 weeks, which was our baptism in Talca and Correcto, and another place where Margaret had a women's spirituality center. Just we went many wonderful places and met many wonderful people, and it was just a great great experience for all of us. Mucho gusto. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Susan. Frederick, let's try again. And Colleen, I see your hand. I put you on the list. Frederick, I see that you're you were unmuted. If you want to try to unmute yourself again and share, there should be a prompt on your screen. Oh, I can see that you're speaking, Frederick, but we can't hear you for some reason. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we can't hear you. I'm not sure what's going on with your computer because you are unmuted. But I'm going to move to the next person, and maybe we can try again in a little bit, okay? So next, Suzanne Reedy, and then Menchie, and then Maji.
Ok, hola. Soy Menchie, Mercedes, y estoy desde Chile, correcto. Muy emocionada por esta oportunidad de estar conectadas.
I'm Mercedes from Chile, and I'm very, very excited about this opportunity to be connected with you.
Recordar a la Catita es sentirnos como sus hijas predilectas.
Remembering Kathy makes us feel like we were her most special daughters.
Porque cada vez que fuimos a las reuniones de ACOF y ella estaba ahí,
each time that we went to the ACOF meetings and she was there,
estaba muy preocupada de nosotros, de los detalles, que estuviéramos bien.
She was very concerned that everything was just right for us, for each one of us.
Y mi recuerdo de ella es la fortaleza de decirnos, ustedes pueden seguir sin nosotras.
What I remember best about her was her strength and the way she said, you all can continue even without us.
Sí, cuando ellas se fueron y estábamos tristes porque
we were sad.
Pensamos que quedábamos huérfanas.
We felt like we were being left orphans.
Pero ella dijo, no, ustedes están aquí y siempre nos hizo notar eso.
She said, no, that's not true. You are here and you are here with us forever.
Sí, y por eso yo estoy muy agradecida
I'm
de
very
ella
grateful for that, to her.
Y de las hermanas que estuvieron acá.
And to the sisters, the rest of the sisters who were here.
Dejaron una huella muy profunda en nuestros corazones.
A very deep mark among us.
El grupo de Curepto no tiene posibilidades de hacer este tipo de intervención, pero me dijeron que diera todo su cariño y está muy apenadas. Cada una prendimos una velita en nuestras casas.
Our friends from Corepto didn't have the equipment to be able to be part of this evening, but they asked us to make them present and to say that they are lighting a candle to be with you and for Catita.
Sí. Y sentíamos no poder estar juntas en un momento así, porque sí nos hubiese gustado.
Together at a moment like this.
Como grupo, nos hubiese gustado estar juntas y apoyarnos en esta situación.
As a group, it would have been very nice if we had been able to be together and support one another at this time.
Pero me dijeron que estábamos todas unidas a ustedes, San Pablo sobre todo, por el hecho de que Catita era de allá.
But they said, we're very united to all of you and you and St. Paul particularly because she was there.
Un abrazo fraternal a cada una de ustedes desde Chile.
A big hug to each one of you. Gracias, Mercedes.
Grieve not nor speak of me with tears, but laugh and talk of me as though I were beside you. I loved you so, I loved you so. 'Twas heaven here with you.
Okay. Let's hear from Suzanne Reedy and then Maji, okay?
Well, I was a candidate to be a consociate from 2015 to 2017, and I was privileged to have Catherine as my sister companion. And so we would meet usually once a month, and we also went to various of our consociate meetings together. And she was just delightful to meet with, and she talked about all of the people and all of the experiences that you've been talking about with people in Chile,
and traveling with the CSJs from St. Paul, the chili peppers to go to Chile. She talked about the Education Association. She talked about being on the board of St. Kate's. She also was involved in a group that maintained relations between China and America. I don't remember the name of that group, but anyway, she was just a font of information and names. And she kept a lot of email contact with all of these people, though I think sometimes her computer was a bit of a challenge for her. Just one funny story that I want to say about her. She talked about being on the St. Kate's board, and at one time they were looking for a new president, and apparently they were considering a male president, and Catherine did not like that idea one bit. So she definitely felt that there needed to be a female president at St. Kate's. But anyway, she was just really, it was really a wonderful experience, delightful to meet with her. I missed her.
Thank you, Suzanne. So my list from here is Maji, Colleen, Karen Ristow, and Ann Shields. And Ag Foley, I see. Okay, so go ahead, Maji.
¿Inglés o español?
Okay.
Whatever you'd like, Maji.
Gracias. Bueno, cuando nosotros recibimos la noticia de que Katy estaba agonizando,
when we received the news that Katy was dying,
nos comunicamos inmediatamente con toda la familia de San José en Chile y Curepto.
We were in communication with all of the family of St. Joseph in Chile.
Y tener una amiga tan querida que está en un momento como ese crítico de agonía, es difícil estar lejos. ¿Ya?
It's very hard to be so far away when somebody that we love that much is in her last moments.
Entonces, hicimos en el WhatsApp grupal, cada uno fue poniendo su testimonio con la hermana Katy.
We had a WhatsApp group, and each of us put our testimony about Katy in that, we wrote it in that WhatsApp communication.
Ajá. Y nosotros hicimos llegar eso a hermana Susan y Kevin, que ellos iban a hacer de ayuda para el mensaje que llegara a Katy.
And we gave that to Susan Hames, who was able to get the message through to, in order for her to be able to get the message to Katy.
Voy a leer lo que yo puse en mi mensaje, ¿ya?
I'm going to read what I put in my message.
Susurramos en tu oído nuestras palabras.
Otra vez, por favor.
Susurramos, decimos muy suave.
Sí, sí, sí. We whisper what we would want to say to you.
Nuestras palabras llenas de delicadeza y amor.
Words full of, very delicate words full of love.
Llegan desde Chile cargadas de cariño y gratitud.
They come from Chile overburdened with love and gratitude.
Las confiamos a las hermanas Susan Hames y Kevin Bob.
We confide these words to Susan Hames and Helen.
Ajá. Kevin.
Kevin.
¿Quién? Kevin. Bob.
Kevin.
Kevin. Ajá. Quienes hacen de puente en estos momentos.
Who are our bridge in these moments.
Ajá. Katy, te llevamos en el corazón.
Katy, we carry you in our heart.
Gracias por compartir nuestra vida.
Thank you for sharing our life.
Y por tu visión vanguardista en ACOF.
And for your vanguard mission in ACOF.
Por confiar siempre en nosotros.
For believing in us always.
Por tu servicio en el liderazgo de la CSJ.
For your service as a leader in the congregation of St. Joseph.
Y todo el aporte que realizaste desde ahí.
And everything that you accomplished from there.
Gracias, Katy.
Thank you, Katy.
Te quedas con nosotros por siempre.
You are with us forever.
Gracias por las interesantes conversaciones
Thank you for the fascinating conversations
y por el amor compartido a la literatura
and for our shared love of literature
y a las letras en general.
and the humanities in general.
Dios te bendiga.
God bless you.
Yes.
Maggie.
Gracias.
Thank you, Maggie. Colleen and then Karen Ristow.
From my kitchen, looking directly out this window, I look across the Hudson River at Troy, New York. And I think that Catherine would like you to be reminded of how deep her love was for growing up in Troy. She was a proud graduate of Catholic High. And at the end of her life, I know she was still a Purple Crusader. Thanks.
Thank you, Colleen. Karen Ristow and then Ann Shields.
Hi. I had actually not intended to speak. Dale McDonald, Sister Dale McDonald, that's okay, was our official NCA speaker. But those of you who know me know that there has been no time when I wouldn't have something to say. So on this occasion, we're sad about Sister Catherine, but it's a joy for me this evening to see so many of the sisters of St. Joseph that I knew in St. Paul and worked with and know so many of you. And former colleagues from NCA and present ones at all. And I see Fred Brigham there, and seeing Fred reminds me that Sister Catherine and Fred were very instrumental in getting NCA into the world of technology. So that reminds me how forward Catherine always was. But I can speak about what a good educator Catherine was, because very smart, very well educated, always knew what she was talking about. Policy issues, all those things she knew very well. And yes, she was always gracious, but she was a good educator, and she in many ways made me a better president, because she didn't let me get away. I would see her at conventions. She would tell me I was doing all right, but she was never hesitant to say, you could do this a little bit better, Karen. So I appreciate Sister Catherine in that sense, that she made me a better president of NCEA. And I'm surprised that none of you have mentioned that wonderful, beautiful, attractive academic hat that she wore on occasions. That's one of my fondest visions of Catherine, in that beautiful hat. So rest in peace, Catherine.
Thank you. Ann Shields and then Ag Foley.
Hi there. I was also not going to speak, but I was reminded today when I saw a kind of a cool autumn day about the changing seasons. And I feel like I came into Catherine's, knowing Catherine more in the autumn or winter season of her life. I know that I graduated from St. Catherine's in 1979, and she became the president that same year, but after I had graduated. So I never kind of knew her as my president of St. Catherine's, but I kind of held her in esteem because she was the president of St. Catherine's. But I really met her late in life. And specifically, I met her because a group of us, Mary Louise Menacott was my consociate companion. Shh, Ollie. I'm sorry, my dog is not cooperating. Shh. Okay. There you go. Anyway, but we started a Sharing of the Heart group, and we were dedicated because Mary Louise had spent some time in Chile, and we were dedicated. We really thought we could learn from the example of the consociates, Familia de San Jose in Chile. And so we came together and we wanted to have sisters as well as consociates in our group, and Catherine joined us, and it was a really wonderful addition to our group. And so I got to know her in a Sharing of the Heart group, which was just a totally non-academic or whatever. It was a heart. I got to know her by the heart, and then I met her Friends of the Heart in Chile, who came to ACOF when it was in St. Paul. And I remember meeting Monica and Menche, and they came to my house. And so we kind of, I guess, got to know Catherine through our Chile and through our heart, but kind of more in that last phase of her life. So I just enjoyed she was a very humble and reachable woman to me in this phase of life. And I am glad to be a mediator between her and the people in Chile, her Familia de San Jose and the Familia Ibarra, where she stayed when she was in Talca. So it was also a privilege and an honor that I did not expect. I was invited that maybe I could be a visitor at the nursing home, and I got to see her the day she died. I saw her. I mean, she was not conversant. I didn't hear her beautiful New York accent come out or anything, but I was with her, and anyway, I carry her forward, and I carry her spirit, and it's really remarkable to see all of you people and all your faces here tonight. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Anne. Ag, if you want to unmute and speak.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Please translate, because I see my friends from Chile there. I had the privilege of going with Catherine on 2 different occasions within a couple of years to Chile. The first one, it was a study.
Just a minute, Ag.
Yep.
Yo tuve la oportunidad de viajar con Catherine 2 veces a Chile. La primera vez, okay.
The first one was a women's spirituality, and the second one was the 20th anniversary of the sisters in Chile.
La primera vez era para una conferencia sobre mujeres en la teología, y la segunda vez el aniversario de las hermanas celebrando 20 años en Chile.
What I saw both times, I had known Catherine only in her leadership roles. It seemed like every kind of leadership role she had.
Yo había conocido a Catherine solamente en sus roles de liderazgo, y me parece que tuvo todo tipo de liderazgo, pero en Chile.
Well, she organized our trips, but when we got there, Catherine was a different person. It wasn't as a leader. She was more like a cheerleader.
Boy, I don't know the word for that. Llegando a Chile, Katy era otra persona. No era la líder con tanto poder, sino más la animadora.
She and Elena were such good friends. And as far as you could see, Catherine was just so much at home, and she was so excited to always tell us about anything.
Era obvio que ella y Elena eran muy buenas amigas, y Katy estaba siempre animada a contarnos cualquier cosa sobre lo que estaba pasando.
So everything was, I mean, what we saw and who we met and everything was so well organized. But
todo lo que vimos, las personas que conocimos, todo fue muy bien organizado.
But Catherine was our translator, especially for those of us who don't speak Spanish.
Y Katy era nuestra intérprete.
And she would be so excited that sometimes we would hear this whole speech in Spanish, and she would turn to us and she would start speaking again as explaining, only we'd say to her, Catherine, English.
Y ella se animó tanto al escuchar y estar en este rol que escuchamos un buen rollo en español con mucha animación y por fin Katy se dirigió a nosotras y empezó a hablar y tuvimos que decir, Katy, en inglés, por favor.
Right. One of the most memorable parts, definitely, of that last trip was the ceremony with some new Familia de San Jose.
Una de las cosas más memorables del último viaje era una ceremonia con nuevos miembros de la familia.
And I'm just so delighted to see the faces that I see right now from Chile.
Y estoy encantada de ver las caras de Chile que veo ahora en la pantalla.
So, hola. Gracias.
Saludos.
Thank you, Meg. It's wonderful also to see some members of her reception from Albany. I believe Maura, and I thought I saw someone else, but I can't remember the name. And I just want to say, Laura and Francine, it's really wonderful to be with you here. Thank you for being here. It means a lot to me to be together in this way at this time.
Fran, I see your hand. Would you like to share? Oh, you need to unmute yourself though, Fran. Can you press the microphone? Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Susan, for mentioning us here. And we have been absolutely fallen in love with what you've done with Catherine over the years that she has been, well, since she went to St. Kate's, I think, been doing things with you. And but Joan here, you can't see Joan, but we know Catherine because she is our reception. I remember the first day I met her was the day we entered, and we were a large number at that point. And I happened to sit across from her at supper that night. And she had come from being registrar at Boston College. And you know where the rest of us came from. It was slightly different. So I think her heroic going through postulate and novitiate as it was done in those days is something we all admire. And Sister Joanne is here. We both were at St. Rose when Catherine was dean there. So we have this background with her, and all the traits that you have all mentioned and praised in her were ones we saw in formation, I guess, as she was beginning. Wow. We would like, some of people who have spoken would have liked to have been closer to her as her life ended. But we know that the St. Paul province was totally home for her, and that you were all her sisters in every way necessary or good. So again, on behalf of all the Albany Province Beach people who are here tonight, I want to express our great thanks to you for the love you gave to Catherine when she worked in so many different ways among you. So thank you.
Thank you. I see
Andrea, that was kind of a different perspective, and I'd like to share it with the Chileans because they haven't heard that part of her life.
Sure.
La hermana Francina estaba hablando era en el mismo grupo de ingresar en la congregación con Katy. Y dijo que cuando ingresaron, la mayoría de ellos tuvieron 18 años, justo salieron de la secundaria. Y Katy había estado en la administración de la Universidad de Boston. Entonces está diciendo que tuvo mucha valentía de poder aguantar la práctica de postulantado y el noviciado en estos días, siendo una mujer con tanta experiencia con chiquillas realmente. Thank you.
Lori, do we have time for Kevin Bopp and Catherine Murray? We're at the end of our time, Kevin, but go ahead and share something quickly. Oh, you have to unmute. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I had the privilege of being with Catherine seeing her or talking with her every week, and it was wonderful. But I also want to end this when they talked about her hat. I have the hat, and I'm going to put it on. Can you see her hat that they were talking about? This is her hat. I just wanted everybody to see her hat that she wore with her degrees. There it is.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
And Catherine Murray, you can have the last word.
Oh, thank you. For those of you that don't know me, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good, thank you. For those of you that don't know me, I went to St. Kate's when Sister Catherine was president, and my sister and I were good friends with Catherine because we shared an interest in language and culture, and she became a good family friend and was a good friend of my parents for many, many years. And I have two things I'd like to say in remembrance. One was I had the privilege of attending her 50th anniversary of her vows, which was held in Albany. And there was a procession at the beginning of the Mass in which she had symbols for the things she was most grateful in life. And I think there were 5. I only remember 4, but the 4 I remember were family, education, vocation, and the people of Chile. And I just thought it was so wonderful to be able to celebrate and give thanks to God, for all she felt was so good in her life. And it was wonderful to be there. And the second story I have is a recollection that whenever anybody was unhappy or sad about a death, she would always say, including at the funerals of both of my parents, she said, oh, you can't be sad. You have to be joy-filled. Nothing but joy-filled, because your loved one has gone home to God. And I don't know if the song we're all singing tonight is a coincidence or not, but it is amazing that those are the words in the song. So God bless you, Catherine.
Thank you, Catherine. That's a wonderful way to sort of conclude our time of sharing. And so we want to thank you all so very much for coming. This has just been such a beautiful collective of love to me, and just so glad to be here with you all. So as we're able to, we want to invite you to join us in the blessing. Sing along or speak the words to yourself. It's one that the St. Paul province has really grown to love. And so as we go, let us pray. As we go now from this moment, as we leave behind our time together, may we walk with one another, may we help each other on the way. As we go now from this moment, as we go into the future together, may we tread one another, may we realize how precious we are, may we realize how precious we are.
Amen. Peace to you all. We invite you to unmute and offer each other peace.
Peace, everyone.
Peace, peace.
Peace,
Peace with you all.
from Boston.
Thank you, Casey.
Gracias por haber
Peace to everyone.
Say hi to Chile.
Thank you. Ha sido un gusto verlos a
Hola.
todos.
Rain.
Hello, peace.
Chica, qué bueno.
Nos van a saber que Katy todavía está acompañándoles.
Yes. Where did Regina Haley go? Pues, where did Regina? Menchie.
You, Kalina, ma'am.
Sandra, gracias por estar.
Man,